Welcome inside the indoor practice facility here at the TCO Performance Center. My name is Gabe Henderson alongside Ron Johnson from Vikings Game Day Live, Vikings team reporter Eric Smith. And I hope you guys had a really good Memorial Day weekend. A 3-day weekend never hurts anybody, but more importantly, for this show, Vikings Pick 6 presented by KFAN, we got some really good questions over the weekend. A lot of fan questions wanted to be answered, and we get a chance to answer at least 6 of them today, starting with pick number 1, you, Eric Smith. Julio Del Real asks, who is your top surprise from OTAs so far?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Vikings wide receiver BC Johnson. I think he's a guy who's maybe flying under the radar a little bit right now, mostly because he obviously missed all of last season with that torn ACL injury that happened right at the start of training camp. He obviously did not play at all. You know, he's a little bit under the radar, I think, just because Jefferson, Thielen, you know, they're the top guys, the wide receiver. But keep, you know, BC in mind when you think about depth. You know, KJ Osborne, Amir Smith-Marset, but keep BC in mind. It's good to see him healthy, and I think he can make an impact this year.
Yeah, he's made an impact before. He got hurt last year with the ACL injury, but the year before he was starting in place of Adam Thielen. So the guy can make plays, and for Keenan McCardell, it's a really good problem to have experience. Who's your biggest surprise, Ron?
Quarterbacks. I mean, I'm not going to say just one. I could say Kellen Mond. I could say Kirk Cousins. But those two for sure. Why? Kellen Mond getting reps with the twos. I think that was the thing. Everybody was thinking, like, write him off. We don't need to see him. He's our third quarterback. Well, now he's fighting for that QB2 spot. But the other one is Kirk Cousins. I've heard checking plays. To get in and out of a bad play sounds easy. But normally, you have the autonomy to do it whatever you want to do. He hasn't had that. Now it sounds like he has the ability to get in and out of good and bad plays.
Yeah, I know you're big on getting in and out of plays and having the opportunity to check offense, check the play at the line of scrimmage. And Kirk Cousins will have the opportunity to do that with Kevin O'Connell. And some of those checks will be to a guy in Irv Smith Jr., who's my biggest surprise. We know he tore his meniscus last year in the Kansas City Chiefs game, but more importantly, this is a guy coming off an injury where he's never had a break in his season from college to the NFL. So the fact that he got a year off, and now Kevin O'Connell is saying, hey, there's going to be opportunities where Irv Smith Jr. is going to be in a one receiver set. And he's going to be able to, like, have some option routes. Hey, run a slant here if you see this, run a hitch here. So the fact that he has that opportunity to do so, I think this offense only expands more because you have to worry about Irv Smith Jr. plus a BC Johnson or a JJ, or now Kirk Cousins has the opportunity to be able to have that flexibility. So a lot of exciting times here in this OTA period, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the next few days have in store. Pick number 2, though. Eric, we're coming right back at you. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. It's from Obi-Wan Kenobi. He says, it certainly seems like the interior of the O-line has many options and different combinations, which we can go with. Can you look into the big Scourger ball and predict the center/right guard combo for week 1 versus the Cheeseheads?
I can. I'll look into that crystal ball. There's not many options at center. I'll say that, though. That's going to be Garrett Bradbury. Probably no questions about that right now. He is the sole guy at center. There's not much competition behind him. Kevin O'Connell is pretty high on Garrett Bradbury. The competition is, however, at right guard, and that is between Chris Reed and Jesse Davis, 2 veteran free agents the Vikings brought in this offseason. The battle is going to go on to camp. It's not going to be decided now in OTAs, but those are the 2 guys to watch at right guard.
Yeah, that right guard position is one of the biggest question marks, right? And it's a good problem to have, right? Because you got some experienced guys in that position to be able to make plays. And then you have the other 4 guys that have been staples on this O-line the last couple of years. So we'll see what happens. Pick number 3, Ron, you ready?
Yep.
All right, this comes from Coop at Coop Goes Vroom. He says, how do you see the wide receiver 3 or 4 battle playing out? I would guess KJ is the lock at 3, but with BC returning, Amir Smith-Marset in year 2, drafting Naylor and Irv taking reps away from that position, it feels crowded now.
Yeah, Irv's not going to take any reps away from them. He's going to be tight end 1, so let's get that out of there. I do say 3 and 4 is a lot more interesting. 1, BC Johnson was a starter at one point when Adam Thielen went down. BC Johnson was a starter before Justin Jefferson kind of came onto the scene, and BC had a bad game against the Colts. So I think when you look at BC's injury, not getting a chance to compete, KJ Osborne, and that's what happens. Players become stars based off injury. You look at guys like Jim Kelly going down and Frank Wright coming in and all these guys like that. That's what happens. I think it's wide open.
Next man up mentality, and the fact that all these guys are up right now, like we talked about before, Keenan McCardell is making his job a lot harder, and as a coach, that's what you want. And pick number 4 is what the fans want right now, Eric. And pick number 4 is from Newsman. His handle was @MiniPotus. It says, with the current cap situation for the Vikings, do you see us bringing back Anthony Barr? Kevin O'Connell said in one of his first press conferences, he liked the fit with the defensive scheme.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell did say that about Barr just right over there in his opening press conference. He said he was a good fit in the defense. However, in mid-March, Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah said that he had a tough conversation with Barr and kind of Barr's representatives and said that it's probably not going to happen. Kendricks and Hicks kind of occupy the inside spots. Obviously at linebacker, Hunter and Smith are at outside. There's not really a place for Barr, I think. He's well-loved, well-respected in this organization, but sometimes you have to kind of move on a little bit. It sounds like this time here is done.
I think injury, though. I think that was a big key is you never really know if there's a chance to win a championship and there's a chance to really compete. And you look at this 3-4. Again, this was a 4-3 where he was a staple outside linebacker, wanted to rush the quarterback. Now in a 3-4, if they can get creative during training camp, nobody picks Barr up because of the contract he wants. Maybe coming back and playing with his boy Eric Kendricks could work out in the 3-4 because now he is a true TJ Watt rush-in linebacker who we know can drop into coverage, but he can get after the quarterback. So this is what fans have wanted for years. Let Anthony Barr rush the quarterback. This might be the chance for cheap. I mean, he have to do it for cheap. Prove you can be in this 3-4 because Daniil, we don't know what he's going to look like in this. And then Zadarius, can he stay healthy? That could be a nice, scary 3 rushers going after the quarterback.
That would be crazy. And the good thing about Anthony Barr is you don't really need him during this OTA period. You can bring him back in training camp.
You can bring him back in week 1.
Yeah, and he will fit right in. But moving to pick number 5, coming back to you, Ron, is coming from Caleb Hunnings at Curb243. He says, what is your prediction for our win-loss record with the schedule release out? I know before we had, you gave I think it was like 11-6?
12. I said 12.
12-5?
12-5.
Okay.
So schedule release has said 12-5, but this is what happens. Moves happen. So you look at the New Orleans Saints, they got a lot better. I mean, they added a bunch of LSU guys. They're looking good now. Jameis Winston's question mark. You look at the Cardinals, adding a receiver. You look at the Eagles, adding a receiver. So those are 3 games I actually had as wins. I got to back them up now. So I'm going to go 10 wins. I think 10 wins, 7 should be the floor. But 10 wins, I think, could be their goal. And then, of course, it's going to come down to kick. Who's the kicker? Like, that's going to be the question. Can he make field goals and win games?
Eric, you agree?
I'm going to go 1 less. I'm going to say 9-8. I think it's a tough schedule late.
Yeah, it is.
I think if the Vikings do get to 10 wins, they have to make hay early. Yep. Yeah, the first 6-7 games when they got to get 4 or 5 wins, kind of set themselves up nicely, which they haven't done in the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, the last couple of years have led to this point for the Vikings to be able to make some change and hopefully get some wins to get back into the playoffs, especially after missing the last couple of years. But we'll conclude the show with pick number 6. We usually have a fan question for this, but this is a bittersweet show. This is Eric's last week here with the Vikings, and we won't announce where you're going, but we know you've been here 6+ years with the Vikings, and we have plenty of memories of you. But this question is just for you. What is your favorite memory in your 6+ years here with the Minnesota Vikings?
Yeah, I thought I had it, man. This is my last week with the team, and it's tough. I've had a lot of good memories here with you two, talking ball on camera and off. There's been so many games, road trips, just a lot of good memories. But it's the people, it's the people for sure. Someone told me last week that it's the relationships in this league that last more so than the games, or practices or whatever. And it's the people, and that's what I've really thought about in the last couple weeks, really. There are so many great people in this organization. I'm not going to name any because I'm going to leave some out. Vikings Entertainment Network is fantastic. I think they really set the standard in a lot of areas around the league. So many good players and coaches over the years. I'm so thankful to all of them. And the fans, too. I mean, you guys help make this work. They help bring BE into life. You guys are so passionate. So it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet for sure. I'm excited about my next opportunity for sure. But it's tough. It's tough to leave. So thank you to Gabe, to you, to Ron, everyone behind the camera, everyone at the Vikings. Thank you very much. It's been 6 years, and I've loved being your team reporter.
Man, we loved having you as our team reporter and looking forward to your future endeavors. But before your future endeavors come, you'll have one last hurrah with the Minnesota Vikings. You can catch Eric Smith on the Minnesota Vikings podcast this week. We got some overflow questions. So the questions that didn't make the show today, Eric and I and Jay Nelson will both answer those questions in this week's edition of the Minnesota Vikings podcast. In the meantime, thank you, Ron, for joining in today. We appreciate your time today. For Eric Smith, for Ron Johnson, my name is Gabe Henderson. Thank you again for tuning into another edition of Vikings Pick 6 presented by KFAN.